I need to back up though, because I think you jumped over something that's enormous, at least for a certain type of person.
Yeah, let me hear
Because
it.
in the
Yeah.
you're going to either roll your eyes or you're going to get real excited. But so in conservative Presbyterian circles, there's always this conversation about the city. We got to redeem the city. We got to build. We got to, mission to the city. And there's this loose idea that because we begin in a garden and we end in a city, the New Jerusalem, there tends to be this implication, sometimes it's just said, that the city is somehow more holy and a more prized type of ministry. Okay, Voss says, in exceptional cases, perhaps what may be called the problem of the city. Amos, and especially Micah, recognize that the city, while an accumulator of the energies of culture, is also an accumulator of potencies of evil. That would be a great name for an old-timey WWF tag team. The potencies of evil. I love it. You get the powers of pain, demolition, Legion of Doom before them, obviously Road Warriors, but potencies of evil. In the capital, all evil is concentrated. Hence, in the future, all cities will have to cease to exist.
Yes.
Micah 2:10, 3:8 through 12, 4:9, 13, 5:10, and 13. But here's the thing that kicked it for me. I was like, well, of course, but the New Jerusalem is a city. So come on, boss. Yeah. But then he says, and this is what got me, men shall then sit in rural simplicity and security, each under his own vine and fig tree, and none shall make them afraid. The Messianic king will not proceed from the city of Jerusalem, but from the country town of Bethlehem, as David did originally. Now, there is the new city of Jerusalem. That is an image. I don't think we need to get too literalistic or read into these images too much. But I like what he's saying there. Often the cities throughout the Bible are depicted as not great places. And redemptive historically, it's interesting to see how they interact here with social sin. And that's something that Voss puts his finger on right here in this chapter.
Yeah, and if we relate this to some of the earlier material in the biblical theology, which Camden, very good to stop and make sure we make this point, because I was going to move on. I was getting into panoramic overview mode and was about to move on. But if
Daryl Hart was on the program, this would be 4 hours just on that.
Oh yeah. The prepensions of Lamech, the desire that
Babel,
finds its expression in Babel,
right,
where a ziggurat tower is made to the name and glory and extension of the city of man,
Sodom,
and then the Lord brings judgment on that, descends and scatters, and out of that,
right,
he calls Abraham and promises him a city to come. And I think what Voss is saying here is that when you look at the biblical theology of the city, you have to recognize its concentration of evil as a kind of incubator for the bestial propensions of Satan, and that theme that he brings out and the passages that you cite, I think, are wonderful reminders that the home of the believer and the holiness of the believer is not associated with that earthly city that with the Babylite proportions, but with the city that God has built and reserved for his people, and that will be unveiled when it descends and envelops and transforms and conforms all things on earth and the righteous to it. So it's a beautiful thing.
The city is not wicked in and of itself as a social structure. I mean, the problem is that it's a concentration of sinners in a city that makes it a problem. And so the transformation that needs to happen to redeem the city, you don't redeem a city, people are redeemed, souls are redeemed. But the group of people that will remain in the new Jerusalem, it will be a good place. It's also a place of security, a place where everyone has their own fig tree,
Yep.
And no one takes away from them. They enjoy the
Yeah.
fruits of their own labors.
Yeah.
That happens because of transformation. So I think I put this one. If we're stacking white marbles and black marbles for the transformation or for continuity or discontinuity in the eschaton, I personally would put this one as a marble in the discontinuity category. But we'll see.
Yeah, well, and the banner that flies is that Israel and the covenant people, page 274, must trust in Jehovah, not in its own strength.